Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Agyemang goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Good evening and welcome to the Vic Akers Wonderland first ever episode. And tonight I'm joined by two of my usual favourites where we was found on Canon Chatter, but now we've kind of moved on to our own thing. I'm here with my two favourites, which is Matt and Adam. How are you doing, boys?
I'm well. I'm looking forward to what we may have in store for this debut episode. So here's hoping it goes well.
Looking forward to it. It's been a while and it's been a long time. I think the last time we did anything together was actually the Euros. So It's been a long time and I'm looking forward to it, that's for sure.
No, definitely. It's been a long time, but a lot has happened since then. So I think the news of the day for me is the England squad. It's been announced by Serena. We've got Earps, McIver, Emily Ramsey, and Ellie Roebuck as for goalkeepers. Our defenders are Millie Bright, Lucy Bronze, Jess Carter, Neve Charles, Rachel Daly, Alex Greenwood, Maya Letizier, Leah Williamson, and Lotta Wubben-Moy. In the Meadow Park, we've got Laura Coombs, Fran Kirby, Jessica Park, Georgia Stanway, Ella Toone, Kira Walsh, and Katie Zalem. Our forwards are Lauren Hemp, Lauren James, Chloe Kelly, Katie Robinson, Alessia Russo, and Ebony Salmon. Matt, can I get your thoughts on that? Because we were talking about this earlier today, and it's going to be an interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah, so if I go from the goalkeepers, it's a bit odd really to have four goalkeepers, but at the moment it might be a suspicion of who's going to take that third place. Hannah Hampton's not really playing for Aston Villa at the moment. A little bit of issues there. So who takes that? Is Candy McCabe, but she's not really playing at the moment, for Man City being their number two as well. So Emily Ramsey's been given the call up, which I quite like because she's done really well for Everton this season, even though she's on loan from Manchester United. She actually single-handedly kept Everton's a clean sheet against West Ham a couple of weeks ago, literally just stopping it from going in on the line as well twice as well. A couple of times she palmed it onto the crossbar and things like that. So she's a great goalkeeper. She's only young as well, and it'll be a good experience for her to be in the squad. Defender-wise, again, when you've got Rachel Daly scoring goals up front for Aston Villa.
Yeah, and there have been some beautiful ones, I will say that.
With a bit of a questionable one, but it's that versatility, isn't it, at the end? A bit of a shame for Gabby George, Player of the Month as well. She was doing really well. She scored a rocket as well for Everton. So Everton are getting a bit of a shout out from me.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame, but I think what we'll see is a lot of swapping and changing over the next couple of months before that World Cup squad is finally announced. But the one question I kind of had about was Jess Carter. Was she really getting a lot of game time compared to some of the others in the squad? And I've got it right. I think the stats are she is one of the lowest because a lot of her appearances come from the bench. Midfielders, Katie Zellum, no, just no. For me.
I have to wholeheartedly agree on that.
She can't keep the ball up for less than 5 minutes. Though she just can't do anything unless it's a set piece. That seems to be the only thing she's capable of doing because she can't pass the ball any more than 5 yards without the ball being taken off her. Jess Park, again, a questionable one because she can play up top, but she does also drift onto that right-hand side. So she's very versatile in that reflect. She's had a really good season with Everton as well. Again, another loanee from Manchester City. So it will be interesting to see if they get minutes as well. If I imagine if they were to play anyway, it would be against the Italian team. And then up top, you've got the usual suspects. It'll be, I think, the main issue I have is with Katie Robinson this time, who's only got 2 goals this season, and she only managed to get an assist against, I believe it was Reading at the weekend. But it's a worrying sign that you've got someone from Brighton coming in to play, even though she was in the last. Well, it's not really as a comment. I'm not trying to demean Brighton, because there are some fantastic players playing for Brighton at the moment, or even possibly Poppy Patterson, who's not even got on the call up. But it's just, when you're not up top, you need to be either when you're up top or when you're in the midfield, you need to be making those passes, or you need to be making those assists and goals, and she hasn't really been doing that for them, which is where they're sort of midway between a relegation battle and mid-table at the moment. So it's a bit difficult at the moment. But obviously, you got Beth England that could have been in the squad. She was in scoring form. She's missed out.
You know, it's completely agreed with Katie Salem. I mean, at the moment, I think we said earlier, Jordan Nobbs is getting a lot more minutes now up at Aston Villa, and she's yet again been passed over, which has really irritated me. This is the first thing I said. Is, I told Matt when he sent me the team, because I hadn't seen it. But other than that, I'm quite content with it. There's a couple of question marks on that, and I'm like, can we do better? Yes, we can. As Matt said, like, Rachel Daly needs to be playing up top. She's had some absolute rockets, and I have been cashing in on the she plays fantasy football on her. That's for sure. Adam, what are your thoughts on the England team?
I haven't had my chance. I've got a few thoughts. I haven't had a chance to properly digest it, because this is the first time I've actually just seen. I've brought it up my phone now. It's the first time I've actually seen the full team sheet. But I was more aware of the absentees rather than the picks. So Jordan Nobbs and Beth England, who have obviously recently left I say bigger clubs in quotation marks, to find minutes. Especially Beth England, I think, went for a British player record fee to Spurs, which was quite incredible, and got a very nice goal against Chelsea, which was nice. So maybe
thought that bittersweet to see.
I know. So it was so much. Who do I support there? But you thought, she is a reliable goal scorer, just hasn't been playing, and I think the reason she hasn't been picked this time around, and same with Nobbs, they're only just getting their feet in at their new clubs. Nobbs has hardly featured for Arsenal, I would say, for a season and a half, victor of injury and the fact that she doesn't play in the manner Jonas wants to play, which is fine. Jonas is entitled to play the way he wants to play, and he thinks it works. Nobbs doesn't fit. It's only right that she finds somewhere, minutes to play, and we wish all the best at Aston Villa. So yes, I think Nobbs may be in on the next squad. If she gets a run of games at Aston Villa, I can see her coming back in the squad. And likewise with Beth England. If Beth England gets a run of games at Spurs and gets the goals in, because Spurs need goals. They struggle ever since they thrashed Brighton 8-0. They've struggled for goals. So if she becomes their sort of star striker and raises the attention of Serena, then she could come back in. I'm intrigued to see what Ebony Salmon does. She's a player that everyone seems to rave about. She's obviously currently over in the States at Houston Dash. So I want to see how good she is. Hope she gets a go. Katie Robinson is a player I don't really know much about. You seem to know more about her, Matt. I've not really. Sometimes it's an unknown, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she does. And then you got the classics, so Alessia Russo, which I'm sure we may talk about again in the podcast, but we'll see. Very interesting to see how she steps up from being Ellen White's sort of substitute replacer to the leading light of the attack, because I think that is what she's going to become going forward. So a lot of interesting pressure on her. Obviously, they got Hemp and Kelly, Lauren James. I mean, I saw her against Spurs. That goal against Spurs was just ridiculous. And up until now, people have been sort of talking about Lauren James. And I thought, well, she's fast, and they've been saying she's been good stuff. And then I saw her at the weekend. and thought, no, she's good. No, she's scary.
No, I totally agree with that. I think she's better than her brother, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. Well, yes.
So
Yeah,
So I'd like to see them two go have a game of 1-on-1 and see who's better.
another
for
one
sure.
used to be in our academy, sadly. So I'm intrigued to see what she comes up with on the pitch. Hope she gets a goal. Brings some of her Chelsea form to the international stage. So that's exciting to see. It'll be good to see the likes of Walsh and Stanway come back from there. Obviously, they're over in Europe. See them again. See how much their experiences at Bayern and Barcelona have improved them. Because I think that Stanway's tearing up in the Bundesliga as far as I know with Bayern Munich. Interestingly, she made a New Year's resolution that she wasn't going to get a yellow card in the new year, and then probably got booked in her first game. So,
Wow, that lasted long.
Exactly.
I wonder if one of our girls is going to try and do that one year.
Well,
Although she did do very well up until that Man United game at the Emirates. I will give her that. And then again, it might be kind of my fault because I said to Matt, who was sitting in front of me, I said, "Is it the day she's going to get a card?" And what does she do? She gets her card right in front of us.
And she did again against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Katie Zellum, you talk about. I know quite a few people don't think. This is nothing personal against Katie Zellum. As a player, I'm sure it's absolutely fine. But people don't rate her as highly as say some of the other ones. For me, she's a bit James Ward-Prowdish. And that she's the captain. I think she's the captain of Man United, and she's a really good dead ball specialist. And we saw that, unfortunately, when they came to the Emirates. They got 2 late set pieces. She was on set pieces, 2 great deliveries, 2 goals. So,
but can she apply that to the international stage, the way that everyone plays? I think personally, she's too slow. She loses the ball too quickly. Too slow for me.
David Beckham became an England legend because he could take a good corner and a good free kick. So it might be one of these like options off the bench sort of situations. That might be how he sees. But I do think there are better technical midfielders than Katie Zellum.
Definitely. Oh no, definitely. There's doesn't matter who you are. You're always going to find someone who's better than you. End of story. And that's just how it goes.
From a set piece perspective, I think that's maybe why she's been given the nod as well. I don't think she'll start. I think she might come off the bench. But it's one to look out for. Also, Laetitia, one of sort of the rising stars. Moved from Brighton to Man United. Now she's getting called up. So I'm intrigued to see how she does. So there's a few intriguing names in there. Whether they'll get minutes, I don't know. But I think it's worth watching This is the Arnold Clarke Cup again for see how they do and see if we can retain the title.
No, definitely. I'd love to keep hold of that cup. Definitely. I mean, it'd be great fire starter to go over to New Zealand and Australia for the World Cup this summer.
Yes.
Can't wait for that. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to move on now, guys. I'm going to talk about the transfer window. So we saw Victoria Pelova come back, Catherine Kull and Sabrina D'Angelo come and join us, and Aloni at Everton, Gio, come home, which I'm really excited about, and I know someone else on this screen is as well. He's got a big smile on his face, and we'll come to Gio in a minute. So what have you guys made of our new signings? I mean, two of them scored against Leeds in our cup run, in our 9-0 demolishing of Leeds. What did you guys make of it?
I was there. I mean, it would be very impressive if D'Angelo had scored as well, being a goalkeeper. But
unfortunately not.
It was a very exciting sort of showcase. They came off the bench against Villa and got a few exciting touches. And we have to have the caveat that this is Leeds United. This is not the Leeds United that we played in FA Cup final back in, I think it was 2008.
Of course, I mean, they trained twice a week. Our girls train 5-6 days
exactly.
a week. There's a massive difference. I mean, one of their players, if I remember rightly, sent a tweet out on social media. Doesn't matter what the score is yet tomorrow. I'm going to win because I get to play against Lia Williamson, which
get her shirt.
What I get is her hero, and these little things like that. It's appreciated in the fact that Lia actually gave her shirt post match. It was just absolutely brilliant.
It was a very lovely touch, but it is interesting to see that in the past Leeds and Arsenal were sort of in the same league, and due to issues at the club at Leeds United, that women's team sank right down, and it's a shame to see. But it was a great game. It was a great occasion, which Arsenal obviously won, and we got to see Pelova and Molekul in action. And Molekul, I think, got player of the match. Both of them scored. Pelova, I'd say, had the pick of the goals. Interestingly, for observant people who have noted, we actually saw Pelova play at Meadow Park much earlier in the season. We played Ajax in our Champions League playoff, and she was in that game, and she was again playing against us in the return. And she was the most notorious thing out of the game was that she was very physical with some of our players, especially with some of the tackling, which caused a lot of consternation. I'm excited about it. It's a young prospect, and in fact, all these Geo, which I'm sure we'll get to later in another one, we've gone very young and very promising talent, which I think we're going to hope to grow into the team. So I'm excited about it. Palova, I think, is giving us an extra option in the attack, sort of maybe in the wide areas, or maybe as an option for Marnham. Cool, I see Molecule, I see as an alternative to maybe Kim Little, to maybe operate more at the base of the midfield. Very exciting. Also, if they also start in the Euros, I should mention Palova scored against Switzerland in a 4-1 win. That was the game when Lia Walti got injured, and with 3 minutes to go, and Switzerland imploded. And Molecule also played at the Euros and got sent off against Germany in that 4-0 loss to Denmark at Brentford. She got 2 yellow cards. She came off the bench, got 2 yellow cards, and got sent off. So not a great Euros for her. Palova is a bit, I'd say, is raw at the moment. Opinion is sort of mixed from what I gather with some people who've seen her play, and you've seen her play for a national team. I think there is promise there, and it's up to Jonas to sort of shape her. Molecule is deemed as one of the big bright lights of sort of Danish football. She's the one coming through people are quite excited about. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Jonas is bringing a bit of Scandinavian flair to Arsenal. And you can't based on recent signings of obviously Stina as well and Hurtig, which we may get to later. So I can understand the likes of Molecule coming over. I'm happy with them. D'Angelo is the interesting one because we are quite stocked with keepers at the moment. Stenson's gone on loan to Sheffield United. We've got Marchese, who played against Leeds and did absolutely fine, pretty much because she had nothing to do, because we just kept attacking Leeds, and Leeds unfortunately offered nothing. We've got Manu as well, so we've got 3 keepers effectively with Stenson out on loan. And I think the school of thought is that Manu might go at the end of the season. Not and I think that's for personal reasons, that may come out later. So it might be that D'Angelo is coming in to be the next number 1. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if she started against Man City and the cup tie coming up, which I'm sure again we'll talk about. But I think that D'Angelo is certainly one to keep an eye on. We saw her play against Aston Villa, and I think did absolutely fine. Was completely competent. Clean sheets, all fine. So that's pretty much our incomings. Should also shout out, farewell to Jordan and farewell to Mana. Sad to see them go, but that's we'll wish them all the best. Also to Leanne Hall, sad, amazing career in our coaching team. Sadly, she's gone. Wish her all the best, and also shout out that Media's staying on for a few more years, so we will definitely see her play again next season, which is very exciting. But of course, there is the one and only Gio, and so I'll leave that to Matt to tell us all, what was she like when she played at Everton? What was she? What kind of player can we expect at Arsenal for the next half of the season?
A lot of the stuff you've nailed on, basically, Adam.
Too kind.
I think I'll start with the outgoings. Obviously, we lost Jordan. She was really loved. Everyone really enjoyed her. The fact that I think we all sort of knew that she was going to move on. It was just a case of when and where. I'm not really. Aston Villa, I think, seems to be the place for her at the moment. She's really enjoying it at the moment as well, which was the main reason for her joining. There's a nice little story where she didn't even know Lucy Stanforth was signing at the same time, and so they just sort of walked past each other just before they were about to train, and they were like, "I didn't realise you were coming as well."
Brilliant.
And then we've also lost Mana now, who's going to be out of contract at the end of the season. She's now gone to Tottenham. At the end of the day, Mana needed game time, and she wasn't going to get that under Jonas. There was the incident against Liverpool where she was meant to come on. Jonas turned around and said, "No, you're not going to come on." And then she eventually did come on with about 2 minutes to spare. Yeah. And that was in the time. Yeah. She was not in the happy place, and Viv did have a go at him for that. You wanted to know about I'll start with Sabrina. Interesting that we went for a goalkeeper. It wasn't one that we were expecting to happen. I think that was one of the ones that you would have thought if we're bringing in three players, it would be midfielder and someone in the striker right wing sort of situation. So it was a bit unexpected, but as you've mentioned with the Manu situation, it's understandable. But I would have thought if we've got two top quality goalkeepers in, Sabrina's one of the ones that are currently contesting for the Canada's #1 goalkeeper shirt. So she'll want to be starting a lot more. So it'd be more, I would have thought Kayla Marquise then goes out on loan to get that experience, because there are times where against Zurich she wasn't as good as, say, how Manu would be in that situation against Zurich, or how I'd imagine Sabrina would be against Zurich or anyone else.
Do you think it could be a confidence issue where she hasn't actually got her minutes since she's arrived? She hasn't really featured, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, only in Europe, hasn't it? Only Zurich, I think, really. Everything else has been Manu, which I get.
No, of course, but we need someone. I feel like I'm hoping Sabrina's a bit stronger than Marquise, because I don't think she's strong enough to knock Manu off her perch, and I don't want Manu to be too comfortable for the rest of the season.
Marquise came in strong enough to do that.
She came in again for the Villa game. She claimed those crosses like they were nothing, and I think that's something we can build on. So someone like Man United, if we had to choose between Manu and Sabrina, I think you'd probably pick Sabrina just because she is more comfortable dealing with those than Manu is. And then we go further up the pitch. We've got Katrine Miller-Cool, who's been described as the next Pernille Harder, who's got a higher ceiling as well. So
that's a lot of pressure. She's a very good player, regardless of the club that she plays for. But that's a big call.
It's going to be an interesting one, and I think it will be a wait and see. She's only 19 as well, so there's plenty of time for her to develop and decide where she's going to play. Is she going to fill in the Kim Little role? Is she going to fill in the Lia Walti role? Is she going to be... it also helps that Frida Marm's been the side, and although she's been the attacking midfielder since Viv's been injured, there's also that option there that she can potentially play. It doesn't help that you have a bit more versatile midfielders at the moment, because we have Lia filling in for Lia. Other Lia.
Lia.
Lia
W.
The LW squad. But Victoria Pelova, I'm very excited about. She was really good in the Euros. Watching her play for the Netherlands twice against Switzerland, and that Portugal game, that 3-2 game.
That Portugal game was just magic.
You just look at them and just thought, how are you managing to score against what is the defending champions? And it was very odd, but it was a very entertaining game.
The thing is, you can't underestimate an underdog, because I know most people from conversation, they already writ them off, and they obviously turned up to play. So
they were very dirty, though. They were diving around like that.
I'm sorry. This is no offense to people that are Portuguese fans, but are you surprised with the reputation from a certain male player? Are we surprised? Honestly, no. I'm definitely not. But credit to them. They came and they took the game to them. I will give them that.
So we'll carry on with Pelova. So when she came into Ajax, we were kind of excited, weren't we, about what we were seeing, because it was the Pelova that we were going to see from the national elite team. Unfortunately, she was a bit more aggressive than we would have wanted. Could have ended up with a lot more injuries. Jonas ended up having a word with her about it. We were interested in her in the summer, but it just couldn't get across the line. She decided to stay. She was doing a degree at the time as well, which was also an issue. So it looks like we decided to buy her 6 months later, which perhaps worked out for the best. She did some personally for me. She was the player of the match for the game against Leeds because she was everywhere and she was creating a lot of the chances.
Yeah, it's almost like she was pulling the strings to the whole game.
She could have had a few
And
more
she
goals
just-
as well. She missed a header right in front of us, but
I
the
know.
goal she did take was brilliant. Really good technique. And
Nice.
yeah,
The way she plays, I honestly just the frustration of West Ham had she been brought on. Personally, for me, if she'd have gone on for Frida instead of, I think it was Lena she came on for.
I think she came. Well, no, Hertig she came on for. I think Hertig in the end.
Yeah, Lena. So, that would have been my change. But then again, I would have probably taken Caitlin Ford off as well and put Lena on that flank. But Gio is, how can I describe her using words that I love her to bits because she does everything that you want in almost a striker, but a winger. She's almost in the Beth Mead mold where she'll press. One of the first times I saw her play was in the Merseyside derby. She was the one that chased down that ball that Liverpool got a corner from. The ball came back and she just ran it down. She got the tackle in, and Jess Park was in there to slide it into the back of the net. So, but she's a phenomenal player. She works her socks off, and if it means, but it seems that she's had injury issues with her hip, and this is one of the reasons why she wasn't playing as many minutes. She also scored a goal against Tottenham, which doesn't happen.
That's always a plus from an Arsenal book, though, is it not, boys?
She's another one that, again, you saw her against West Ham. It was a bit odd, really, because she wasn't doing what she was doing against Aston Villa. She was cup tied. She wasn't doing what she was doing against the Aston Villa and not Aston Villa. No, Leeds. Sorry, where she was driving down the right hand side and putting balls in for fun. And unfortunately, I don't know what the instructions were, but she wasn't told to cross it in for whatever reason, but she has that quality in that final third to be able to put balls into the box. If hopefully she doesn't have these injury issues that we've seen, she'll be able to contribute a little bit more, and had she have had that more chances, I think we would have probably scored that goal if we weren't so wasteful in the final third against West Ham.
Most definitely. I think we do have a very, very in Gio, like we have a very Beth Mead-esque player, but I don't want to put her in the shadow of Beth Mead. She's the darling of international women's football, you know. So I can't do that to her because although she's an impeccable player, she's similar to Beth, but I don't want her to be identical.
No.
Purely on the basis is each player should be their own, and being in another player's shadow as big as Beth Mead it's going to be really difficult for her, especially at her age.
She has to bring something new to the party.
Definitely. But at this point, what she brought to Leeds is what I feel we're missing sometimes over on that wing. And this is going to sound really harsh, but with Lena Hertig hasn't set the world alight for me just yet. I'm waiting for something special.
So there are reasons for that. So Lena obviously was our pretty much, well, her and Marquise were the two signings made in the summer, but Lena got injured. I think it was Leicester away, and she's barely played. And it's unfortunate because the time she should have played was when Mead went off injured. That's when Lena could have got in and got a run of games before Christmas. Yeah. So she's pretty much, since she's had to start from scratch starting with the Chelsea home game, which was well, she unfortunately struggled in that one, and she is making up for lost time now. So I do have some sympathy for her. I hope she can pick up the pace, as it were, and because I do think there is a talent in there. She did get a goal against Leeds, which was well taken, and from what I hear, she's very good. She's got a very good aerial presence. She's very good, crosses, heading, and so forth. So she could be an option from set pieces. So that might be something we end up seeing her for. We should also address the obvious for all our signings and all our shopping. There was one thing that was missed off Jonas's Christmas list, sadly. Yeah. All the things he asked for it in the summer, he asked for it in the winter, and it still didn't come, which was of course the striker. There were a few. There was De Bruyne, Brazilian striker, that didn't happen. I think it was Lacasse from Benfica. She didn't come either. The Russo one, which set, quite frankly, Woso Twitter on fire. It was an incredible 24/48 hours, but it was a deal that could never happen. I mean,
Thing is, I'm a bit apprehensive if she'll renew her contract because her contract's out in the summer.
This is the thing, but we had that with Viv last season. 6 months into.
Yes, we did, and then we had Barcelona snooping around, and I don't want to relive that.
No,
just,
of course.
I don't know what it is with Barcelona. They just suck up all the good talent and take it away to Spain, and it's just, for me personally, it's really frustrating because players like Kieran Walsh, Lucy Bronze.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching them play on English soil.
We lost them now to Barcelona.
We've lost them to Spain. I mean, even Stanway, I liked watching her as well.
Yeah. The irony of obviously Viv is we were worried about what our team would look like if Viv wasn't playing. Well, now we do anyway. So
I'm sorry, boys, but I don't think Viv's going anywhere at the moment.
No. But I mean,
unless it's to another team domestically, if you know what I mean.
She's out the team, obviously, with the ACL. So we by signing or not signing her, we were now playing without her. But the Russo deal, I mean, I wanted Russo to come. I think most people wanted Russo to come.
I think most of the fan base would have wanted Russo to appear. I would have loved it, but I can't see her leaving Ella Toon up at United. I just can't see it. See it.
That's why it's interesting summer, and I think Russo
got that song Tooney and Alessia Russo, and it's just every time I scroll past it, it's the sound on TikTok, and I'm like, no, but it works.
Smith Rowe song. That's our song. They stole it from.
Yeah, I know.
I think Russo will stay if Man United get Champions League football. I think that's. It's a long way from. But it's a gamble. It's a gamble.
It definitely is a gamble. I mean, what's the top 2 places that get Champions League football, and then the third goes through conference? Top 3. Oh, okay.
So
they could go through knockouts then. In that case,
they could go through the whole big playoff situation. So it's one to keep an eye on. Man United are gambling on that. Russo's yet to sign an extension. They could have got her for that much money, but Man United were never going to sell, and especially to a rival, because they rely on her too much. What was even more interesting was the fallout that followed. There were rumours and speculation from trusted news sources. I mean, we're not talking ITKs here. We're talking respected journalists who know their stuff. That there were certain. Arsenal were overly desperate, shall we say, in trying to get this player. They were willing to basically throw the family jewels at it, even though, which some of the stuff, it sounded really illogical and it caused quite consternation. But Joe sounds like
desperation to me, to be honest. Yeah. And
we
need a striker.
Yeah, exactly. So but you don't. When you need an extra striker, you don't throw the striker you've already got to get the extra striker, because then you're back to square one again.
Then you've got the question: is this true?
Well, this is the thing.
The key thing.
This is exactly.
We all know what Stina's like. I love her to death, but she just can't stay on side. She didn't do well lately, but she cannot stay on side. I mean, I love the cheeky back heel with in the Leeds game. That was just like, I'm here, because I was watching my Twitter feed and they're all moaning about her. Next 3 minutes, 2 goals, go away. I'm sitting there saying there's no confidence issues. Her positioning, that's the problem for me.
Funny thing is, we had a special chant for in the North Bank, and we started a different chant. It was a new to another one bites the dust. About 3 seconds later after scoring, she'd run through and poked into the net.
Brilliant.
The news around the transfer was very interesting, and it was very quickly. Jonas denied it at all. He said no, that's not the case. And I think there was a lot of misinformation circling around the transfer.
Definitely. That's what the transfer window does now. I mean. Yeah. As the game's got bigger, it's going to circulate around social media that like more and more people watching it. People are going to start making up things like Kim Little to Man United. Like, no.
The cave to Chelsea. That was something that came out, and then came out through the respected journalists, and then other journalists saying, "Oh no, that's not true at all." And I think the Russo
that was a fan-made rumor, though. That's the
difference. The thing is with the Katie McCabe one, which really irritated me. There was a video of her and Steph Catley last season.
Yeah.
Asking them what team they support, and Katie had Chelsea down, and I was like, I saw that rumour, and I put my head in my hand, and I went, no.
Yeah.
I just.
What's interesting now is this because of the height coverage. That window is the most hyped coverage-wise WSL transfer window I think I've ever seen. Normally these things pass and nothing really happens, and maybe if Harder going to Chelsea, I think was one of sort of the big sort of deals. This was a time when everybody was on their Twitter, everybody was looking for updates, and we're getting excited when we hear a second bid's gone in. And then Arsenal obviously had one last punt, which was Senior Bruin with Leon, and that was just too late in the day. I think Jonas has said that the whole club needs to have sort of a review, and I agree that it needs to review on how we manage transfers, because I think the world is changing and the world of women's transfers is changing, and I fear that maybe
it will do. I mean, the prices are going to go up. FFP is going to come into place, and I do think it should before it gets too silly. I mean, yes, Beth England was a record signing for Spurs, but when does it get to the point where you're paying too much for a player?
How many seasons? Open question. How many seasons do you reckon it'll be before we get the first £1 million women's footballer?
Ooh.
Because we were going to go 500,000 for Russo, ish, give or take. So how long?
I give it 3.
3 seasons.
I was going to say 2 seasons.
Because at the moment we wait to contract expiration until players.
If the girls can pull, I'm saying this very prematurely. If the girls for England can pull off the World Cup, 3 seasons, and that's a massive if. Because we're going up against the US, we're going up against Brazil, and obviously the European teams, we've played them before, but there's all these external factors that come into place with teams you don't get to see us play regularly, and that's what concerns me. But if they pull it off, or if they come in second and third, this whole thing will absolutely spiral out of control. Well, in a good way, not in a bad way, but the people will be watching.
A lot of the problem is that some of these teams, they're hoarding these players. You look at the Chelseas, the Lyons, the Barcelonas.
But Chelsea,
they would have picked them up for free. They can now officially sell them for what could be a couple of million if they really wanted to. But if you look at
Chelsea, if you look at Chelsea, they're run as a business. They're not run as a football club. They do it at the men's academy, the girls' academy. They suck up all the talent. And then sometimes, unless you're an extreme exception to the rule, you never hear of them again. I can guarantee you, players like Omari Hutchinson, you will not see in the first team on a regular basis. Yeah,
first I saw him. He was in that. I think it was that Man City game. Just came on for a few minutes. I was like, oh yes, I remember you. You went to Chelsea because you thought the grass was greener. And how's that working out for you? And he disappeared again. And I think maybe he appeared in the FA Cup against City or one of the cup competitions. But I think
this is just complete guesswork for me. But the Chelsea Academy must work like that for the girls too, in my opinion. And they've always had a good academy system. And the way that they operate and the money off it is really good, but it's not great for the players.
What Chelsea? Do you know of any Chelsea? I mean, I don't know any, so this is an open question. Do you know any players playing for Chelsea at the moment who have come up through the academy? Maybe, I'm guessing Jess Carter, maybe, or I don't know because I can't think of any.
Millie Bright came from. I'm just trying to go through that squad. Millie Bright came from Donny Bells. Frank Kirby came from Reading.
Yeah.
Erin Cuthbert came from Glasgow City.
Yeah. I think this is the thing. They might have a good academy, but I don't know how many of them get into the first team. But obviously,
not many. I don't think. Lauren James, probably. No, she was one of ours, wasn't she?
Because she was Arsenal.
Yeah, she was one of
Then
ours.
she moved to Manchester United. Then she went to Chelsea. So
yeah. So it's not that many that you can actually say they're from the academy.
Yeah. When you look at us, for example, we got Lotta and Lia who have both come through.
Yeah, you got Michelle Agyemang.
Nice because now we can talk about Agyemang. I like that. So
we've got the likes of Michelle, as you said, Lotta, and obviously a few others on that list as well.
We've got a few of them that have been on that bench. The goalkeeper, Reed. Actually, I think at one stage we had one of the Champions League game. One of the goalkeepers was one of our academy players. I think one of the problems is that from 16, you haven't got like under 21s or anything like that. So there's no way to really develop yourselves in any situation. So it's kind of
move on.
There's no big academy league, as you say.
Yeah.
We lost some good players as well. Alex Hennessy ended up going to West Ham. She's now at Charlton. We've lost Actually, I think I counted it out overall. It was something like over 30 players that are currently in the WSL that used to play for Arsenal or were part of the Arsenal system.
Yeah, Lauren James, I think, was one of ours at one point.
Yeah, Lauren James was on there. You'll be surprised. I mean, I think
as the game grows, we will eventually get our under 21s, and we'll see a lot less of this, and we'll have a lot more homegrown talent, so to speak, that's come through our doors. Don't get me wrong, I love getting new players in and everything else, but the players who come through our academy are just as important. We know that from the men's teams, from Emil and Bukayo. Yeah, it's really important. I think it's definitely something Arsenal need to invest in for sure. I think one goal that needs to be spoken about is Michelle Agyemang.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the position when she received that ball and straight in the back of the net. This girl is only 16 years old. We cannot let her go.
No,
I mean, what was your view like from the North Bank, Adam?
It was fantastic. When she came on, I mean, we already had a chant lined up for her to the tune of "Oops, Outside Your Head," just sing her name to it. And when she came on, we thought this is the perfect chance. You know, you'll never get a better, to get your first Arsenal senior goal. You know, against this opposition who are absolutely off their, they're on their feet, they're knackered, they're a beaten side. Fill your boots, and she took it in splendid fashion. I mean, the touch to take the rebound in one movement and then volley it immediately before it was just brilliant, and we were amazed. We were absolutely thrilled that she got that goal. We basically on the day we wanted all the debutants and all the hardest, the yet to scores to get their goals, which I think pretty much all of them did. So no, she's a terrific talent. Obviously, again, we have to put the inverted comments. It's Leeds, so she hasn't done it against, say, Chelsea or Man City. I mean, if she did it tomorrow night, I'd be absolutely.
Oh no, I completely agree with that. But it's her first senior goal, so it's still just as important.
She was really impressive, though. In the earlier start to the season, she ended up coming on for against Leicester because of the Lena injury. But she was really impressive then, and if she can do that, I think it's going to take a little bit of time, maybe, but she'll get there. And she's good enough to be in the squad, and Yana seems to like her quite a lot. So I'm sure she's scoring as well for the under-18s as well at the moment. So it's a chance for another player to step up as well in that Beth Mead sort of position on the right-hand side, or potentially, because she is quite tall as well, she could play up the top.
I think, so much. I think what's exciting about her is also the unknown, because we've hardly seen her play. So I think mentally we are sort of, and this is also applies to Gio as well, and a lot of our new signings, because we don't know much about them, we're sort of mentally projecting onto them all our hopes and dreams that you are going to become the player we need to save our season. And so that does add pressure. I'm excited to see what she becomes. I think she's probably the first youngster to sort of get reasonably sort of hyped, I'd say, since maybe Ruby Mace. I remember when we had Ruby Mace a few seasons ago, people were talking good things about her. Then obviously she decided to go to Man City. And I think this is probably the next sort of star player to come out of the academy who's now getting the minutes. I'm excited to see how she plays. As much as I'd love her to come on and get a late winner against City tomorrow night, I don't think that will happen. I think she'll probably be on the bench. Yeah, I don't think
she might. You never know. She might get a few minutes. You never know. If she does, I hope she scores a beauty.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
Maybe she'll be close to that win. Take Ford or Hertig off to give them some rest ahead of the.
Although I think I'd prefer a Gio goal tomorrow night, if I'm honest.
I think she's cup tied though, isn't she? I think Matt said
yes, she is. She's played, so if anything, she might be on the bench. She'll be on the bench for the academy game at the weekend, which
against Man City again. So twice. So hope we see more of her, and hope we see get to see more of her, and then not to judge her, but we can appreciate more her talents and have more to talk about. But an exciting start to a hopefully successful Arsenal career.
Definitely. There's not much to talk about the West Ham game. It was an 0-0 draw over the weekend. There's not much to say about it, but fans are saying we've thrown the league away.
Yeah.
Have we, Matt?
At the time, I was thinking yes, but but I think it was more out the frustration of the amount of chances that we had, but just couldn't put it in the back of the net. Fair play to West Ham, because they actually did how their plan was basically, if you're gonna attack us, and they just had a low wall and couldn't get past it. Mackenzie and Arnold pulling out stoppers left, right, and centre. Casey could have had a banger again. She still hasn't scored one this season. Deflected. Someone said Lia Williamson. I don't think I saw the Williamson shot.
She fell over as she shot, and it was just going.
Oh yes, yeah. The cross. Yes, I remember that now. Yeah. That would have been quite funny though if she did score.
It would have been.
But there were chances there, and again, I look back at that and think there were chances where the subs could have come on quite early. For me, it seems to be every time I keep on having a go at Caitlin Ford, but it's not her fault. Well, it kind of is, because
she does have her hit and miss games. I won't lie, but she's not been that bad this season.
For me,
by the sounds of things, that's one of her first bad games.
For me, she should have been on the left, but she was on the right this time. And I think she works best on the left when she's working with Steph Catley. But Lena was on the left, she was on the right, and I felt that was the wrong way round. And I felt Ford struggled to impose herself in that game. Unfortunately, it was a frustrating one. You were saying about losing the league. I think my thought was at the time is I don't think we're going to win the league before getting it, simply because of the injuries we've got to our key players. I was talking to some people. It's like the equivalent of losing Henry and Perez, at the start of the season. What you meant to do. So and at some point. And also, we haven't signed a replacement striker either. So in some sense, I don't say Jonas has got his excuses, but he's made his stance pretty clear what he wanted and what he doesn't have. And I think it's a case to see what we can get out of it. But looking at the stats, if you look at how these results match up to last season, technically, we're only 2 points worse off than we were last season. If, let's say, we would go to Man City the weekend and win, it could happen. We would have actually, our average would all evened out, and we'd be on track for the same points as last season. The tricky thing is that the results, the games coming up are, of course, Man City away in the league, Chelsea away in the league, Man United away in the league, and Man City at home in the league. We've got a hard second half of the season, plus Conti Cup against Man City, plus FA Cup away at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think between now and May, we're at Kings Meadow 3 times.
So something's got to give.
Yeah, we're at Kings Meadow 3 times between now and May, and I'm not happy about that at all. If I'm honest with you.
3 times? We've got the FA Cup, League.
Yeah, and then I think I was looking at the fixtures the other day. I'm pretty sure it's 3 or twice. It might be twice. I think it is twice. Be wrong,
we've got the Champions League as well. The draws.
So we've got the FA Cup. We've got the league.
That would be an interesting one. Imagine if
it is twice. I'm sorry. We're away in Kings Meadow, our second to last game.
Yeah, that's going to be
the prediction semi-final against Chelsea. In the Champions League.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare. And it's all happened at once. And the West Ham game, you felt, was Man United dropping points. We needed a win, and it's a game we should be winning. But the fact that the chances and all the shots we had, we didn't have anything clear cut. The best ones were in the first half. Lena had to do better at the near post. We saw how Agyemang took that touch and volley against Leeds, and then you saw Stina who took her touch and sadly spooned it over the bar. And it was like I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, for me, she is like Giroud to what Meadow was Van Persie in the sense of, but that's also how she plays, in the sense that she's a build-up player, she's a hold-up ball, she's never presence, brings others into play. The problem is the players that she would bring into play to get all the goals are out with ACL injuries. So now the pressure is on her to score. And any striker following in the path of Meadow is always going to look worse, because Meadow was so amazing. And
well, isn't it? Was she always will be? She will come back stronger. Amazing, we know this. Come on.
But Viv's moved to 10.
I do think Frida's been doing really well where she's playing. She's top goal scorer this season, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I think you might have heard me when I said to Matt at the Chelsea game at the Emirates, sometimes she's warm water, sometimes she's searing hot.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden her game picked up, and it was just like, boom, there we go.
Yeah.
And it was just she's been doing really well playing in that position for sure.
If we didn't have Frida Liotton-Mornham, it would have been, I think our season would be in a slightly worse state. It's borderline at the moment. If we can get a few wins, we can maybe claw it back, because Man United are actually looking okay this season, and Man City, while they've been a bit wobbly, they'll kick on at some point as well. I think this could be one of the most exciting titles. We say this every season that it's the most exciting title race, but it is.
We do say this every season, but it just means it's getting better and better and better, which is
Absolutely.
what we want as fans. Even if it's not for your club, as a neutral fan, that's what you want to see, especially in the league like the WSL. This is what we want. This is what we live for.
For me, we have to if we win the Conti Cup this season and get Champions League, that's a successful season. So that's why I think that the Conti Cup is absolutely. If we win the Conti Cup, I'll feel a lot better about the rest of the season because we'll have a trophy in the back pocket. So that's why I think tomorrow night is so crucial. If we beat Man City, we've got a chance because I think we can beat Chelsea. I saw at the Emirates, we matched them. We just need to kick the ball in the net or hope we win another penalty for Kim Little to convert. That's just unfortunately where it is. We've got to work with what we've got at the moment and hope our players find some form and pick up the slack, and that can happen. From darkness, surprising people come out and surprise you. Vicky Palova, she could suddenly come out and get the 5-10 goals we need suddenly out and get a bit of form. So we've got to see how it goes. But yeah, the West Ham game, very frustrating.
In other news, Matt, one of your other favourites is back tomorrow, Lia Walti. How excited are you to see her back up against City? And do you think she'll play the full 90? And how strong do you think City are going to go tomorrow night?
Well, City this is the problem. Is that what I don't like is that we're playing them twice in a week, which basically means either you win one or the other. So it's a case of what I would imagine City will want to be in that final. It's more for them to get something out of it. It's sort of like a consolation if they end up getting third at the end of the day. Hey, at least we won a trophy. Whereas last season we should have realistically had a trophy in the bag and we didn't get it. I would imagine they'll go full strength. They'd have Bunny Shaw, she's scoring well. France Laura Coombs as well, also doing very well. Lauren Kelly. The only question is probably about the goalkeeper. Would you have Ellie Roebuck in goal, or would you put Sandy McIver down? McIver. Whichever way you want to say it. It's difficult to say.
You'd have to go with Sandy for a cup game at least, and then get Ellie to play on the Saturday for WSL. That's just my opinion. It probably won't happen, but that makes sense to me. They might
decide that it's going to be Ellie Roebuck in goal for both games, which means I would imagine they might do the same as us. I imagine we're going to have a semi-rotated squad against City. Just for me personally, what would I rather have Lia Walti for 3 points or a semi-final? For me, it's to get the 3 points away at Man City would be more important. So I would imagine that Lia stays as the defensive midfielder in that front three, in that middle three. It's that. The problem is we need to be scoring and we can't afford to have these slip-ups. So sooner or later, someone's going to be needed to drop to say, look, you're not performing as well as you can. Caitlin seems to run through these gaps, which is what I was trying to say about during the West Ham game. There was times where she actually tripped up over herself, trying to get either have the shots, or she could have just done a little bit with the movement where she could have had one of the balls she could have just deflected and that would have gone in. It was. Yeah, I have a feeling that if she is dropped, then it would be Lena on the left, and you'd move. You can't have Gio there, so who then goes on that right?
Cabe.
I would probably put Katie on the left at left back just because just for suitability. But then again, there's always the opportunity to have Lena on the right, put Katie on the left, and then you have
bring Palova in.
You have Caitlin up top and Stefan back as left back. But then Noelle Maritz needs minutes. She played a little bit against West Ham.
I think Wienreuter will start. Actually, I think he'll rotate that. I think he saved Wienreuter for this game because I think he thinks Wienreuter's the better right back this season than Maritz. I think Wienreuter will come in. I think it's interesting what you say about McCabe. I think there's a chance McCabe could start at left back, and he might go for a different left wing option rather than going with Steph Catley. So that would be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Lia Walti started, but came off after 60 minutes and maybe had Lia shift into the midfield, or maybe go Little and Cool, Muller Cool in the midfield instead. I think
Serena for me starts.
Yeah, I think she'll be the goalkeeper for this one, like she was in the Conti Cup. I think she will, and she'll get a proper examination because Bunny Shaw, Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp. I expect all three of them to start, and I think they will test.
100%.
The good thing is about our team is at least defensively. Now that those early injuries to Rafa and Lea have cleared up, we've actually got a really good defensive unit. Our defense is good. Our midfield is good. It's all about the attack. So as long as we keep our back door shut, as we know we can do, we have a chance. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. It's my first time back to Meadow Park this year. I've waited this long. I was meant to be at the Villa game, but couldn't get there. So I can't wait to be back in the North Bank. My flag, my flag is washed and ironed and ready to go up in the stands.
I'm pretty sure the game against West Ham as well was our first clean sheet for a while.
I think out of 10 games, Manu's only let in 3.
Yeah, but you go back
I don't know
to
how
the
many
last couple
goals,
of
but she's
games,
let
we
in
had
goals in 3
games.
games.
We didn't play the game against Brighton. We didn't play not Leeds. So you're talking about the game against Chelsea was the last time.
It was 1-1. It was Chelsea 0-0. Chelsea 0-0 was the first. It's the first game since the Chelsea 0-0 we haven't scored in the game.
Yeah. But it's been a while since we had a clean sheet.
Probably Leicester away. I'd say probably Leicester away, maybe. It's been a bit.
It's been a while, but I'm really sorry, boys, but I can't see us coming away with a clean sheet tomorrow or on Saturday. But I just can't. Those front 3 are looking very dangerous, especially Bunny.
Well, here's some optimistic ideas. In the last time Man City came to Meadow Park, they lost 5-0. And the last time they came to Meadow Park in the Conti Cup, it was a semi-final which we won 2-1, and Manu saved a penalty. So that was in 2020. So,
all the signs point to the good, but
we'll see what happens.
Oh, we'll see. I don't want to jinx it. I'm gonna in a second. I can ask Matt's favorite question. Absolute favorite question. I really don't want to predict this score because I can't say which way it's going to go. If I'm honest with you, I want an Arsenal win, but I can't guarantee it.
I don't know if there's I mean, you've got to go to penalties if it's level, but I don't know if we get extra time as well. I don't know how the mechanics work on that front. I hope it doesn't go to penalties because
I've got to go. Sorry, guys. So
no worries, Matt. Can you give me your score prediction? I'm just wrapping up.
I think it's going to be 1. I think it's going to be 1-0 Arsenal.
Oh, brilliant!
Nice one.
Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. All right, Matt. I'll catch up with you soon.
Yes,
Take care.
Take care.
Cheers to you, Bye. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for coming on. And then number 2.
Yeah, I'm going for 2-1 Arsenal. Just because it's the same as last time. But that is obviously insinuating we're going to score. I do think we will score because at the weekend West Ham were defeated. Well, first half they actually went for us a bit. It was a contest, and that's why we had some chance to win. So there will be spaces to exploit, especially on the counter. And the good thing is if we're going to counter-attack, Stina is useful for that. We saw the goal we scored, the third goal against Villa, that Ford scored. The ball was cleared up. Stina held on to it, retained it. Frida Marnham and Caitlin Ford came with attack, feed it off, on it goes, goal. So I think we will get better chances, and with the home advantage as well, which is can't underestimate, we've got a chance. And I think if we get the win here, that'll at least give us some confidence going into the City away game, which I think will probably draw. Which again wouldn't be a terrible result.
Do you know what? I'd take a win in the cup and a draw in the league.
Yeah,
I will take that all day long. I don't want to see no L's anywhere.
No, I mean, on the topic of L's, if there is an L we have to take, and I'll get slated for this. I'll take the L in the FA Cup. Just because of the lack of options we have, we might need to concentrate our resources elsewhere.
Actually, you know what? I can completely agree with you there, because as I said earlier, I don't like going away to Kingsmeadow.
If we lose away at Chelsea, in the FA Cup, I won't mind. Oh my god! I mean, it's like losing to Man City in the men's FA Cup. It's like, as long as we're not beaten 5-0, if it's a close game and we lose it, we go, okay, we gave it a good go. Chelsea.
Long as my thing is, I don't have to say this about the girls. As long as they give a fight, I don't care.
Yeah.
At this point, I just don't want a game where we roll over, because that kind of stuff, it upsets me. I get annoyed, and I can't get upset with these girls. I've got no reason to be upset with them.
If you want positive omens, the last time we played Chelsea in the FA Cup at this stage of the competition, it was away at Kings Meadow and we lost 3-0. But it was in 2019 when we went on to win the WSL title. So you never know.
That is true, but that's a bit like the fact that every time apart from this year, every time we've met Man City in a quarter-final, we've gone on to beat them and gone on to win. Yeah. It didn't happen this time. So I love good omens, but now I'm a bit hesitant because maybe they're practically true.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
It's not doing it for me right now. It really isn't, but I'm hoping the girls prove me wrong.
I hope so too.
I really can't wait to get back to Meadow Park. Can't wait to see you for the first time in 2023, Adam.
Good.
It'd be so cool to hang out. And I want to say thank you for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Always a
pleasure.
I
know it was last minute, and I've been working on this for a while, and I just want something to have as my own sort of thing.
It's good. It's been really good fun, and I hope people enjoy it. I hope we can make a few more. So it's been good fun.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, this is going to hopefully be a weekly thing for us.
Cool.
So yeah, no, and that's the end of the first episode of Vic Akers Wonderland, which is absolutely amazing. I'd like to thank both my guests, Adam and Matt, for coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate it, as always. And I will see you all next time. Have a good evening.